we're back with the Paint Trips podcast. I'm going to be doing another, I guess, live painting. Um, this is my Day of the Dead painting. Um, the size of this is 60 by 48, which is roughly around the same size as my David. I'm probably working on the hand a little bit. A bunch of extra tables. So I got my painting palette, another chair. So it's gonna be here to the right. Um, but yeah, again, a tutorial. I'm not gonna be doing like a tutorial or anything. Sometimes I talk about what I'm doing, but for the most part, I'm just gonna be chatting about whatever. Um, there's no real like structure to this stuff. Um, but yeah, so today was pretty cool. I got to see the homie Retro. He came through and we chilled a little bit. Hopefully we could kick it tomorrow, so that'd be pretty cool. I got to see his little dog. He's got a little like French bulldog, man. That shit is mad fucking cute. It's all like little fucking it's like a little chubby. It's so strong. It's stronger than I thought it would be for like a little dog, but yeah, I think the dog's name is James. But it's like white and it's got like little black patches, but man, it was a cool dog. You can tell that the dog's like attached to him though, but it's funny. Like it didn't like leaving its side. It was pretty cool to see. But yeah, it was nice to see him again. Um, Today was pretty cool. It was pretty cool at work. I was trying to like organize it here so that I can do the podcast. I like doing these live ones. It kind of helps me try to like work out a lot of my conversations. I just sometimes I say too much like and so I'm trying to cut that off. And I think the more I do them and the more I do this, the easier it's gonna get for me to speak. Um, so yeah, so I'm gonna get started. I got to do a little bit of mixing. Um, I'm gonna be working on this finger here. You probably can't see at the level. I'm gonna be working on this finger, but for right now, I'm gonna take a quick break. I always do this. It's not a break. I gotta share the link so I can get people in here. But I don't know how to do that when it's not live. Like I don't know how to share it before I go live. So let's see. Hopefully it pops up. Yeah. Yeah, it's all quiet, huh? Um, I like using the little GIF, the gifs or whatever on Instagram, for like swipe up. I don't know if any of you, anybody else like messes with those things, but I really like changing them and you know, so like these arrows. Nah, I don't like the arrows. Um, I just bold letters. I'm cool with just the bold letters. There you go. Yeah, fuck it. Hopefully we can get some people in here. All right. All right, now I'm gonna mix. So based on my reference, all this thumb It looks like it's too dark here, so it's starting to look flat. Plus, a lot of it looks transparent and it looks too yellow. I gotta brighten it up a little bit. So first, let's see if I can add a wash of like a reddish brown here, like a light reddish brown here. Probably similar to this. I don't know if people could see it, but yeah. I should probably do some topics, like maybe some notes on topics and shit. Because sometimes I don't know what to talk about. Um. Oh, I shared like 3 images of like old paintings I've done. Um, a couple of roses and like some portraits, and I also sent out commissions on like a big like I can paint a couple of commissions if anybody is interested. And one of them is the stained glass. I can only do one of those because it's probably gonna take quite a bit to do that. Cutting up the glass and getting the glass together and designing it and then painting, and it's gonna take quite a bit. But I think it would look really cool. I'm trying to figure out where I put my painting. I think it's behind this. I don't want to move all this shit. But next time, I'll show you guys next time the painting. Um, let's see. So I'm trying to get some artists in here for another podcast, to have another podcast recorded for December. So hopefully are gonna be here. Uh, I assume a lot of people are like out for the holidays and stuff. So I'm not too sure if people are gonna be around. So yeah. You can't really see my palette, I guess. But yeah, sometimes I need a little bit, so I'm just mixing with the brush. If I'm gonna use more, I would have probably used the palette knife to make a bigger amount. But right now I'm just kind of trying to this area, so I'm not gonna go all out. I just need a little bit. Um, so I think the paint that I have on here will work fine. Mm, I might need to pour maybe white, but it looks like I have some white over there. Let me see. Okay, so now I mixed a good amount, and I think it's the color I want. Let's see. The title of this painting here is it's called Un rinconcito en el plano astral. Um, I guess the translation would be a corner in the astral plane. I guess that would be the translation. Um, there's a Ramon Ayala song called Un rinconcito en el cielo, and I like the song a lot, but I liked the fact that this painting is like a Day of the Dead painting, and a lot of it has traditional Dia de los Muertos stuff, with the marigolds and the face paint. Um, and what I did is, instead of doing the like a typical crown, I made a crown out of like crystals and gems, just to give it a different look. And then in the background, I don't know if you can see it. You can probably see it down here. But yeah, I added some skulls and I added some mushrooms. So um yeah, I think the reason I think this stuff would be the kind of like a mushroom trip. Um, it represents slight, an afterlife, but in an afterlife that potentially could just be, it could be something that we haven't really thought of, you know, um, and this could be, a little corner direct gold, and I don't know. It was just a really cool combination, bunch of really cool colors I thought I could add together. The concept, you know, was kind of to do a trippy looking the dead painting. Um, and I definitely wanted to incorporate um, mushrooms into this painting, which there's quite a bit of them around, and yeah, that was like the idea behind it. I definitely wanted a couple of braids, for her to have a couple of braids. Um, the basic concept of it, my wife actually kind of helped me compose it. She gave me the suggestion about, the gold skeleton, and, having marigolds, and, she she gave me a lot of advice, and I thought it was pretty cool. So she helped me a lot composing this. Um, but so yeah, that was the basis of the painting. And now, yeah, so now I just gotta finish it. Some people have been asking, for the pricing of it. It's not done. I displayed it unfinished and not for sale. So hopefully I can finish realism in this. The slight realism or whatever. But yeah, I need more details, more glazes, more shifts, like more tonal shifts. Everything looks kind of flat right now. So let's see if I could stuff for the flowers. If I go darker, it'll deepen. It'll accent all this area up here. Um, just right. So that's my thought process. That's kind of how I'm gonna approach the painting. But the first thing is fix this weird ass thumb. Um, this thing might be too red. Yeah, this thing's a little too red, so I need to add a little bit of blue. I like mixing paint. Like it's very it's fun seeing the colors shift. Like you're shifting the colors at your will. Just by mixing them together. I don't know. It seems pretty cool. Um. Oh, I've been listening to The Alchemist, the audiobook The Alchemist by Paolo Coelho. Coelho, I believe that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, if none of you have heard that book, I highly recommend that book. It's slightly fantasy-ish, but a lot of the lessons or the experiences this character goes through can definitely apply to you and your life currently. it's I I I don't know how to explain it. It's a book about like trying someone trying to accomplish their dreams, and how things kind of happen throughout his life, and he gets various obstacles, and his way of thinking changes so much in the book, but all because of his dream, him trying to achieve his dream, and in the very situations he gets he ends up in, can apply to situations people might be in now, where they're stuck in a job that's not their dream or whatever. And it's really relationships. It even like hints at relationships. And I I don't want to say a lot. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it's a really good book. I got lucky and I found a really good audio book version of it. Male narrator and a female narrator. There's two versions. Both are good. I kind of like the way the male one kind of expresses a lot of the situations. Um, and that's just because the female one kind of reminds me of the audio lessons that you might have gotten in school. When you would read audio lessons would read out loud. It was always this female voice that had like a, I don't know, it was a weird tone to her voice. And that's how the female version of this book is narrated. So if you kind of don't like that, highly suggest it. I think people should check it out. I actually have a series of paintings, in my notes or in my like list of to do ideas, where I want to make scenes from that book. I want to paint scenes from that book. Um, in moments where this character's life shifted, and he changed the way he saw things. His life moved and transitioned. And I think I really want to paint little paintings of scenes from this book. I really like this book. It's probably one of my favorite books. I've also done to the Harry Potter books. The Harry Potter books. I finished book one. Um, I like the narrator. The narrator has an English accent. I forget the narrator's name, but um, the book was good. It varies from the movie. I've only seen the movie. It definitely varies from the movie. And then they also cut out like certain scenes between certain characters that they didn't add in the movie. And obviously you're not gonna add, it's not gonna be an exact rendition, but I mean, if you like the books, or I mean, if you like the movies, and I've been wanting to like hear more audiobooks, and it was interesting. I finished the book. I started book two as well, but it's you just gotta kind of in the mood. I've been listening to a lot of podcast, so I think that's why I shift. Like if you see me shifting what I'm listening to no less than 20 times a day. I'm constantly going between music, podcast, music, some of those Let's Not Meet Again Reddit narrators, like lazy stuff like that. I'll be listening to that. Then I'll hop on and then another podcast, and maybe a little bit of stand up, and then back to some more music. And then I start varying the music genre. I'll go hip hop, and then I'll go to some rock, and then I'll shift over from rock to classical, and it's just like that's all fucking day. Like I'm doing that shit all day, just like shifting like constantly, to make sure that as I'm doing these tasks, I'm like in the zone, you know? Like it really helps me focus, just keeping a constant switch of material so I don't get nulled. Like I don't get like autopiloted, you know? I'm probably not explaining it very well, but that's why I'm doing these live podcasts so I can try to be able to speak a little clearer for everybody. Okay, so the red and pink that I added, it's too saturated. It's way too much. So I'm gonna try to grab another paintbrush, try to wipe a little bit of this off, and then I'm gonna work from there. So I'm trying to get like jars and containers to keep my brushes in. I've been keeping them in these like red cups. Like I have all kinds of brushes, and I just been like kind of keeping them in these red cups. I have glass ones. I have like this one, you know, but I can only fit so much in this one. So I've been trying to find like some handmade type of jars, or like brush holders, like really cool, you know, unique little holders, maybe something somebody did in pottery class, and they decided to throw it in the Goodwill or in the Salvation Army, and shit. If it fits a gang of brushes, I'm gonna pick it up and fucking hold it. I think it'll look pretty cool in the studio to hold my brushes. Uh, but yeah, so let's see. I got my brush. I'm gonna start. So since the paint's still wet, I can spread it, and the more I spread it, the lighter it gets. I just can't add anymore. This is way too dark. So I'm just trying to spread it, thin it out, and then come in with the lighter color. Although I think this might work, be honest with you. All right. Now I think I might go light. Yeah, I gotta go light. I need a smaller brush. I need a smaller brush. Okay. None of these are gonna work. I don't know if anybody's seen that movie, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but that's a really good movie. It's really well made. It's not meant to be like a fucking crazy, horror movie where it's like super crazy scary. Um, it's a fun little adventure movie. You might feel like it's scary at times, but just the way it's presented, it's visually very appealing. A lot of knowing that a lot of the monsters and a lot of the stuff is practical, it makes it really cool. I believe there's only like one part where I thought, oh man, I kind of wish they would have not gone so CG. They added a little bit of CG. But that was just the first time. I watched it again and it looks really good. It actually doesn't look bad. I don't know why at first it just threw me off the way it was viewed. Um, but yeah, definitely you guys should check that out. If you like kind of creepy little scary movies. It's nothing like it. It has a lot more blood. It's more like PG-13, I guess. No, it's not PG-13. It might be though. But it was really well made. It's got good music. It's got a good amount of suspense. It has a really good story. I really like the story, and the way it ends. It ends where it can continue. Uh, but it just I'm a big fan of Guillermo del Toro, and he made this movie, so I probably have like a slight bias, but not crazy because I'm not crazy about all his movies. But yeah, definitely check out that movie. All right. So I got a smaller brush. Now I'm gonna line that up. Been mad watching Malcolm in the Middle. I don't know why that show is just too pink. I don't know. Can you guys see what I'm kind of doing? Because I think I'm fucking this shit up. Nah, I'm joking. Oh, yeah, fuck that up. Let me get a little closer. Kind of taking shape a little bit. Man, fingers are really hard to make. If you don't get the right angle on the finger, it looks like a sausage. It really does. Like, God. I like adding color to all this shit. I think this is like why people glaze. Like, if you guys look, I'm letting some of that dark color underneath show through, especially with the orange. I don't know if I don't know if you guys can see all the detail. Might be too glare. It's like the light might be too bright, but anyways. Yeah, so I'm using one brush with paint and one brush with no paint and just doing like little tones on top of this paint I already laid down. The bottom part's already dry, yeah. I'm just trying to lay an even tone and then come in with the lighter one or darker one, depending on where I need to go. Like on this edge, I need to go darker. Um, Let me see. What else can I talk about? Um, Joe Rogan, and they were talking about I believe like diets, like plant-based diets, meat diets, and I was actually like listening to it, and like they there was two guys, and they had opposing views. One was for like plant based, and one was for meat based diets, or just he didn't. I don't know. One guy made like a documentary. Anyways, I'm massacring it, but I was surprised how interested I was in it when I know I'm not interested in any of that. Y- I maybe I just liked the arguing back and forth, the very articulated arguments. Um, and the arguments were well articulated, and just like they kind of made sense. They made sense both ways, and the way they were describing it. Sometimes I have trouble being able to explain what I am currently thinking. I think that's why I like painting a little better. I can I have more control over what I'm showing here than to try to figure out the exact words to show you what I mean, or what I'm trying to explain. Um, but I hope I'm getting better at explaining stuff. At least that's kind of like what I'm practicing. I'm trying to practice all that shit. Pero anyways, oh, the yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I was thinking about how, so at work, one of my friends, we were talking about Disney, Disney, and so me growing up in my house, Spanish was the primary language. So, like at home, you would only speak Spanish. My mom would speak Spanish. My dad would speak Spanish. Everyone at home spoke Spanish. I only spoke English at school, or in school. And I've always thought I've had like an accent. I always thought I have, a pretty noticeable accent, Spanish accent. Something I've been self conscious about since I was little. And I at one point I must have lost it, because people say that I don't have that accent anymore. Or you can't really tell that Spanish was my primary language. But anyways, so we were talking about Disney, and I've in my household, and I don't know if it's in other people's households, and I apologize if it's stupid, but I always thought Disney was the way you pronounced it. Nay, the sound nay, Disney. I always thought that's how it was, and that's how I would always pronounce it. I would say Disney, Disney, Nay, and that's how I would always pronounce it. And at work, we were talking about it, and he was like, "Hey, what are you saying?" And I was like, "Oh, Disney, Disney." And he's like, "Are you saying Disney or Disney?" And I was like, "Oh, Disney, Nay, or like nay." And he's like, "Dude, that's not how you say it." And it wasn't until then that I realized I was pronouncing Disney incorrectly. And I you might not notice the difference. I force myself to say it the way it's supposed to be said, but it was just funny to me how, like, that portion of my speech was never ever ever changed, and I never noticed it. I've heard I've heard the word Disney so often. So often. I've used it, and so often, and never 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 has anybody corrected me, anybody pointed it out. I've never noticed it, I've never heard it, I've never heard the difference. It wasn't until this time that it was pointed out to me, where I heard the difference, I noticed the difference, and it made me laugh so hard, because that is something that I should have caught, and it's just I'm okay with it. I'm not embarrassed by it. Shit happens. Sometimes I know I pronounce things incorrectly, but now that I know, I'm making a conscious effort to pronounce it properly. Disney. But yeah, that's fuck. You're always trying to you're always learning, right? Fortunately, I learned that I was messing up for years, you know. Man, I've said Disney so many times, so often. Damn. So yeah, that was uh that was something at work that made me laugh. I hate how sometimes I like focus and then I stay quiet. I gotta learn to keep talking. Oh, my wife's been playing that Pokemon game. I don't know if anybody else has played it, but it looks super cool. It's like 3D now. It's 3D now, and like you walk around, and it's not like it's not pixelated. And then there's like a bunch of new Pokemon, and the fighting system looks really cool. The towns look really cool. The characters you can customize like the clothes and all that stuff. And I don't know like a crazy amount about the game, but I've been seeing her play it and it looks really fun. I when I was playing Pokemon back in the day, that would have been awesome if it looked like this, you know. I probably wouldn't have left my house though, but look, if it looked like that, would have been hooked. I had a pretty bad video game problem. Well, not video game problem. It wasn't like a problem, but I played video games way too much. And maybe it wasn't the video games, but I gave them so much importance over other things. And I think that's what scares me, that that I was able to do that, you know. I would brush off so much stuff. I was just being a lazy bastard. And I just didn't like that. And unfortunately, sometimes I associate it with that. I know it's not. I associate it because that's how I was acting when I was playing him, you know? And I just feel like it was a lot of fun and I made a lot of great memories playing video games and, a lot of fun times playing the video games. But I feel like I could have used that time to paint. I could have used that time to push my art, and I didn't. And I was slack off at school, and I wasn't really I didn't give it any importance. The only thing that was important to me at the time was playing video games, having fun with the video games, and fucking doing graffiti here and there, and trying to do graffiti as often as I possibly could. That's pretty much was it. Now it's just like trying to focus on art and balancing work and balancing family life and all that stuff. Like I feel like finding a balance with everything, there's like a series of sacrifices that have to be done. And one of those sacrifices is me playing video games. It's I enjoy it, and I would love to sit down and play them, and I know I could easily sit down, play them, and just be it. But I think I had to sacrifice that to push my art. I think I have to sacrifice things to give this some more dedication and stuff like that. And there's things I'm willing to give up for this, and there's things that I just can't give up, because they balance it. They balance my painting. Um I can't I can't paint I can't paint all the time, or else I'm going to get closed off. And it's okay to be closed off. Like, you get a lot of work done being closed off. But I think doing stuff that's outside of just sitting down and creating helps kind of motivate and helps inspire new idea paintings. Um I feel that when I do get stagnant, or when I feel my least creative, is when I've been stuck at home, you know, painting, or not, or worse, not painting, and just being lazy. I felt like I feel like that's my least creative time. But yeah, that's something I struggle with sometimes. Try not to be passive, I guess, or just lazy. Mm, let me see. I need to go lighter with this fucking color. There's like nobody in the chat. Anyways, I think I'm almost at an hour. Um, and I wish I would have put a little more paintings. It's kind of hard to paint like this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Oh, not really. I gotta make sure to keep the mic like really close to me, or else it's not gonna pick up the sound. All right, let's see. Let's lighten this up. Hopefully it. There you go. And then it kind of picks up here. It cuts off here. It's supposed to be subtle shifts, but I have too much paint on here. So sometimes what I do is I'll put the paint, and I know it's too much and it's not anywhere close to the shape I need it. And then I come in with the other brush that's got no paint on it, and I start like brooming around and brushing that paint and like spreading it to where I want it, so it gets thinner in the edges, kind of feathering. Just kind of feathering, mixing it slightly with the bottom color. Yeah, I think yeah, I mentioned this last time, but I put on gloves because fucking I get paint on my hands all the time, man. It's hard to clean it off, and some people would say it's toxic for you. So I don't know. Hey, see, that blend looks cool. Just gotta work with this shit. Thumbs are hard. Thumbs are hard. I, I was watching this video essay on YouTube about I think it was a video essay. I don't know what you would call it, but it was about the first Blair Witch movie. And I didn't know they had like a viral marketing, like online marketing for that. They created a website, and I think that's what sold the lore of it. But I didn't know that. I just thought it was like a type of movie that they decided to make, or found footage, but I didn't know there was like a website. Um, I think I think it was a long time ago, and I probably just didn't have internet, so I would have never known. I don't even remember when internet became like a thing, a common thing. I don't even remember when computers became affordable. Some little too late now. God damn it. Sometimes it's just a fucking back and forth battle with these fucking paintings. That's what I feel like I'm doing right now. Like I'm having this back and forth battle with it. It looks a bit better. I kind of don't want it that light. I just want some transitions. Because if I make it too light, and then it'll look weird. See, like this, like the nail has no shape. The nail has no motherfucking shape. I think I've done about close to 50 minutes, but anyways, I'm probably gonna end it here. One, uh, too many empty gaps in this fucking podcast episode. Too many rants that didn't go anywhere. Let's see in the next one. I'll definitely have topics, shit to talk about. Shout out to all the homies at Art of the Harbor. Um, Shout out to Andrea, the homegirl. I'll share some of her artwork. She's really cool. She has really cool prints. She has these really cool zines. Um, so shout out to her. Shout out to Glenda, Emilia, everybody, Ricky, the homie Ricky, everybody who's been on the podcast, Mr. Benja, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I really appreciate you guys taking your time out of your schedule to come out and have a conversation with me. It's really enriching for me. um, I learned so much from everybody who comes out. I really appreciate getting to know you a little more, and you guys kind of opening up and showing your personalities to me while we paint and create. So I appreciate that. And I look forward to having everyone back. Remember, this it's not a one and done. Like, please, you're welcome back. I would love to have everybody back. For like a returning podcast. I've had a couple of artists already come back, and it's a lot of fun. And it gets easier and easier the more that we do it. Um, and it's a lot of fun for me. So I appreciate you guys coming out. Um, So yeah, uh, sign up, subscribe to the channel, check out the podcast channel, check out the my Instagram at Nigma_32, and then the podcast is at paint.trips on Instagram. And I got some podcasts coming out before the end of the year, so make sure you check them out. Some really dope artists, some really cool artists. uh Miranda, the homie B. I got Anvil coming up too. Anvil, good looking out, man. I really appreciate you coming out. Miranda, thank you. B, you too. All right, well, bye bye.